we've got a lot of great content to cover with you. This is really an opportunity for you to mingle with peers, right? Get to know Kore.ai a little bit. For those of you that are maybe prospects and haven't worked with us in the past before. And of course, our customers that are here, welcome. Thank you for coming. We appreciate you guys so much. And look forward to the panels where we actually have our customers on stage with us, speaking about how they're leveraging AI across their organizations and deploying. So let's get started on some of the slides. Cahal touched on this, the speed of innovation, right? How quickly things are moving in the AI space. It's really funny, I remember it was November of 2022, ChatGPT 3 came out, right? And everybody started to think about, wow, I can use this personally. I can use this for business use cases. I can use this in lots and lots of scenarios, right? And at the time, generative AI and LLMs were all the rage. It's almost like that's passe now. Nobody talks about generative AI anymore, right? It's part of the mix, just like conversational AI is part of the mix. It's still part of how you create really great AI agents, right? But now what are we talking about? We're talking about agentic AI agents, right? Meaning autonomy and AI orchestration and having AI agents talk to one another and actually be able to automate and have dynamics situations happening within use cases where they're often doing a whole bunch of things either by themselves or with human in the loop, right? So we've gone to a whole nother level and we'll talk more about that. But you can see where we've been working as a company here with the pre-LLM and machine learning phase. And then once ChatGPT 3 and 4 hit in 2022 and 2023, it really democratized everything. And everybody got on the bandwagon, and thousands, if not tens and tens and tens of thousands of companies sprung up leveraging generative AI and LLMs. So then we had our version 11 that we brought out in 2024, which is really leveraging everything generative AI. And now with our version 12, we're focused on and keeping pace with the speed of AI, all about agentic. And we'll talk more about that today. But the agentic capabilities, the agent security, the self-directed operation, multi-agent orchestration, right? All that autonomy and so on. So, and, don't take our word for it, right? It's just exploding, right? The market is just exploding. Here's a quote from Gartner saying by 2028, 95% of organizations have integrated generative AI into their daily operations, up from 15. That's a huge jump. But it's not just Gartner that's saying this. It doesn't matter. We have Forrester here today who will be speaking with you and sharing their information and their insights and what they're hearing from clients. Everybody is saying the same thing, right? AI budgets within the CIO or the head of AI in organizations, those are expanding upwards of 70 to 90%. So the key is, though, is how do we organize and orchestrate and keep the security and the governance and all those things? And it gets really difficult. So we'll talk about some of those things today. And then, of course, enterprises like yourselves, you're still facing AI adoption challenges, right? So some of those I mentioned, but the biggest one I hear most often is data, right? How do I get access to data, whether it's structured or unstructured data, when I want to leverage AI agents either to answer questions, give answers, help someone through a process and be pulling that data back and forth so it can interact appropriately with humans in the loop or not. There's also implementation resource availability, meaning your people. Do you have the right people in place to be able to understand and orchestrate how you want to lay this out and build your AI strategy across your organization? How do you balance scalability and speed, right? Speed is one thing, but does it scale? Right? So you got to be able to do both. And of course, then there's always the governance and security and the conceptual orchestration. So, clients continue to tell us that they have some anxiety. These are some of the things they say. Doesn't really matter which one you pick, but, thinking about are we equipped to integrate upcoming AI governance and regulatory framework, right? Can multiple agentic systems seamlessly collaborate with one another? And Cahal brought up, buy versus build. And, the idea that regardless of what you do there, how do all these AI agents speak to one another? How do they know that the other exists? How do they know to do handoffs and these types of things, if that's what you want them to do? So a point solution can certainly stay contained within itself, but then what happens when you want to branch out or have departments share things, or, information, data, or better AI agents going off and helping everybody with that work and pulling it back based on other areas of the business? So the promise, right, is that AI delivers automation and cost reduction, right? That's what we all believe, and that's true. Again, no matter who you look at for research, and we did a bunch of research here. We actually pulled this. I can't read the screen. This is research that was done by Claude. So we asked Claude and refined to go find, and this is what we came up with from multiple data sources like analysts, like McKinsey, Deloitte, whoever's doing research on this type of thing. But on average, we're seeing 40% operational savings, 45% labor savings, 70% less errors. So that's what makes up the operation savings. Then we have 60% process automation, so faster decision, right? Faster time to market, helping people go through their typical workflow much faster than they could before. And again, it's usually leading to happier employees, right? Whether it's on the CX side or someone who's just working claims, working underwriting, whatever their job is, right? That process automation, bringing that in, helping them out. Then we see about a 25%, or the stats tell us there's about a 25% revenue increase with new product, new customer gain, keeping your existing customers, that sort of thing. And then 45% performance gain. So happier customers, happier employees, right? That performance and so on. So that's really the opportunity for all of us here in the room, right? Is how do we leverage AI across our enterprise to get that automation and cost savings? But the real opportunity we feel is the benefit from AI growth in the organization and the speed of business. However fast you guys need to move, AI can help you get there faster. It's certainly going to help you with competitors, right? And stay ahead of your competitors. And, we've talked about this a lot over the years, right? It's not now AI is the hot thing, right? But you need to be thinking about AI, how you're going to implement it to keep customers, keep employees, keep everyone happy across the organization, and cut out inefficiencies and so on. So AI agents, one of the things that you should think about AI agents, right, versus live human agents, right? We've got lots of agents. You've got insurance agents. You've got, I'm trying to think of different agents, real estate agents, right? Lots of agents in our real lives. These are agents like that. They work on behalf of someone else. So a real estate agent works for a broker, right? The broker manages everything. And then they have real estate agents working on their behalf, but it's the broker who is responsible for that relationship and making sure that transaction happens by, all the rules that are set up for real estate. So same thing here. You guys can build a whole bunch of AI agents to help you in your organization, whether it's service scenarios, employee scenarios, use cases, or process automation that you want to just improve operations either on the customer or employee operations side of things. You have to think about these AI agents as your new digital workflows, much like a broker thinks about, I have 117 real estate agents selling houses or helping buyers purchase houses, right? They're not involved in every one, but they're letting them go off sort of autonomously, not 100%, but let them go off and do their buying and selling. And then they bring, right, all the information and then the proceeds back to the brokerage. So same thing here. You think about how you can use AI agents across your organization to help with all those scenarios. And sometimes you want to use them, to do 100% autonomy, meaning if you look at the chart here, where it talks about low to high autonomy, there's things that you can set off and have them do that there's no human involvement. There's others that you want to set up, much like RPA, where a human needs to say, okay, yes, this is accurate. This is correct. Now let's kick off the next one. And there needs some human intervention. That would be the lowest that's in there. And then something that's in the middle is something that we've been used to for quite a while, which is like conversational AI intelligent assistants, for example. They can do a whole banking transaction or travel transaction without human intervention. They're working kind of autonomously, but they're not making decisions on their own. They're just doing what's asked of them back and forth. So AI agents, will really be your largest employee cohort by 2030, right? This is a stat from a lot of research done by BCG. And they firmly believe with all their CIOs, the heads of AIs that they talk to in all their research, that is really going to be the case for most organizations. The key is, though, that you have to start now, right? If you're not starting now, you'll be behind other organizations. And, is that a carrot or a stick? I don't know, probably a stick, but it's something we have to think about in our businesses, and especially for those of us that are heavily regulated, number one, and number two, where there's lots and lots of competition, right? When we think about financial services, airlines, mobile providers, what's the differentiation? Everybody's got planes, everybody's got mobile phones, everybody's got ATM and walk-in branches. So what's the differentiation? Typically, the differentiation is service, and the differentiation is the employees that work there, right? How happy and satisfied are they? If they're happy and satisfied, and you make their job easier, that's going to reflect in their interactions with customers as well. And wow, look at this one. So this is a typical organization, right? Which this top part probably looks pretty familiar to a lot of you. But then you have all of these gray AI agents here, right? That are represented here. And those are the ones that are going to help across the organization for that efficiency, right? Helping people through live transactions with customers, whatever the use case is, that's that layer we're talking about. And then you have to have this orchestration layer. Without it, you just got a whole bunch of AI agents doing their thing. But how do they talk to one another? As I said earlier, how do they interact? How do they see each other? That's the main thing. So, your future challenges, so you talked about some current challenges. Future challenges as you deploy these AI agents or build these AI agents as part of your organization, what is the governance for those agents, those AI agents? How do you identify them? Meaning, how do they identify one another, and how do they see each other, right? Discover each other, so they know what their role is, and then who they hand off, and so on. What is the agent security? How do you handle multi-agent complexity, right? Where there's 6 agents that might have a task to do to finish one workflow, for example. Resource scarcity, again, we have our own proprietary research that we did, where we surveyed 1,000 CIOs, heads of AI across the globe. And, one of the things that came back is my resources. Do I have the right people with the right skills to be able to help me think about the strategy, think about how I'm going to deploy and govern and so on, and then make that happen across the enterprise? And then lastly, the lack of a single AI platform solution. That can make it difficult, right? I mean, it's just like I worked in the contact center for years. So if you had an ACD from one vendor and a dialer from another vendor and the quality management solution from another vendor, reporting from someone else, you get the idea. Workforce management from someone else, the IVR from someone else. All of a sudden, you had to have all these integration points and everything had to talk to another. And when you upgraded one thing, then everything fell apart, right? Because those CTI links broke. Now I'm really dating myself. So anyway, long story short, it gets really complex. Well, the same thing is true here. So we like to think about it and keep it simple is think about where to embed AI, where the value is. We think about 3 buckets, and I don't really think there's more, right? We might argue on some, but I don't think there's more. So the first one is reimagine work, right? So using AI to improve work, how people, do their work. How do you streamline their work experience for internal workflow? The second one is reimagine service. So service is all about leveraging AI to improve customer interactions. So that's it. They can be self-service. They can be human assisted, right? With human agents. But how do you improve that experience? And then lastly, reimagine process. So automate knowledge and intensive tasks. So it's really process automation. And things that take along a manual work, cutting, pasting, and getting rid of all that and having it happen now automatically. So AI for work, as I said, you empower every employee to work faster and smarter. And again, it's not just about faster and not trying to put more work. Remember how computers were going to save us time and make our lives easy? When I had my fat Toshiba, with like that thick laptop, the first time I could leave with a computer back in like 1995. Anyway, it didn't really make our lives easier, right? And more work, more was. This is really all about helping people through the workflow, their use case that they do every day, whether they're helping customers, doing claims, doing back office work, whatever those pieces are, right? And helping them so that they spend less time. And you're going to hear some examples of that today in some of our customers and how they're leveraging this specifically for work. And you can see here for our AI for work solution, we've got lots of connectors. They're custom built connectors with no code. It enables all employees, citizen employees, to build AI agent because it's no code, low code, pro code, right? You don't need to have developers doing every piece of this. There's a pre-built agent library, and then finally pre-built agents for those use cases for employees around HR scenarios, IT, and recruitment. AI for service. This one's pretty easy, but again, how do you help in self-service and live customer interactions? So you enhance customer satisfaction and loyalty, want to keep those customers you work so hard to get. And then how do you give service reps a fighting chance? And this is an interesting one, right? Because we as consumers, we often know more, not necessarily more, but we know as much as the contact center agent, right? When we call, we say, yeah, we already went online. I already looked for that. I already did this. I already did that. I tried that. I went to a YouTube video, whatever it is, right? So this helps the human agent stay steps ahead or at pace with the customer. And so we're listening in real time, either through chat or through voice, and then making suggestions to, again, help the agent be more efficient and provide great service. And then lastly, AI for process, right? So this is automating process at scale with intelligence. So how do you improve operational efficiency and outcomes and scale based on domain expertise, right? So this is all about workflow execution, leveraging agentic, either low to high, to help with any of these scenarios. Intelligence with model planning and reasoning. I hear a lot from customers, contract, right? Legal, accounting, using this stuff in the background to help automate a lot of the process, pull things out of contracts, and that sort of thing. So the real context and injection, grounding, and contextual human in the loop as well. But even with those things, it can get quite hectic or even chaotic, right? So you see this slide, we talk about build or buy, regardless of what you think is best, right? You have the hyperscalers that you're working with, right? And then you have your enterprise systems of record and other things that you're leveraging, which is in that bottom left-hand corner. Then you've got your contact center, right? What's happening with your agents and contact center offering, and you got to be able to connect into all of that. Then you have your open source vendors that you have here. So all of that feeds in, and it can be a bit much, right? As I said, even when you have just the contact center and you have 17 vendors for the contact center and you got to keep them all talking, right? It's become easier over the years, but it still is cumbersome. So how do you manage your AI army? Well, as I was mentioning, or some of the questions I was saying, how do you manage and how do the agents have an identity? So they have to have an identity, right? So as you build them, right, in our solution, you give them an identity, you give them the ability to discover one another and know when the right time is to hand things off between one another. what's their purpose? That seems pretty straightforward. And then what happens when they're able to achieve or not achieve what their purpose is or was, the roles and permissions, how do they communicate with one another? And finally, how do you oversee, orchestration of everything? If you've got 17 vendors, right, providing AI agents across your organization, it can get quite cumbersome to figure out, especially if you want them talking to one another, how they communicate with one another. So we have a point of view on this, right? We feel, and as Cahal covered, and the BCG research that we talked about earlier in the slides, it's really about a single platform. It makes it a lot easier for you because, right, you have features and things that you can build on the agent platform, and you get certain benefits out of it. So I already talked about the no-code, pro-code tools, right? Because then you can expand to others in the organization who can help build these AI agents based on the strategy and what you guys are trying to achieve. You have the standardization, so that increases speed to market. So you don't have, right, if you've got 12 different ways to do it, once you standardize, it can really help you with time to market. You have a choice of autonomy level. So you maintain control. So that was the high to low autonomy, what they need to do. You have prompt libraries and templates, which help you with speed to get to value faster. And then lastly, it's ecosystem agnostic, which I'll talk about, but we don't care about the LLM. We don't care about the cloud vendor of your choice. Right? That's the agnostic part. So it gives you freedom to, use whatever complementary vendors you'd like to. So BCG, again, some of their research that they do, 73% have conducted detailed assessment of AI platforms, and 84% are already exploring transitioning towards a single platform for their AI solutions, right? And again, it's because of that chaos. It makes it really hard. So as we look at the agent platform, and as I said before, our latest agentic version is version 12. This is our enterprise grade platform for building and orchestrating AI agents and agentic workflows. That's what it does, right? So as we're 10th year, actually going on our 11th year now. As Cahal was saying, we have kept pace with everything that's going on in the AI space. And, this is our 12th version of the platform. So, these are the key things that you see. I have a pointer. I do have a pointer, but guess what? It doesn't work. Oh, there it works in the black, but some of the places does. Anyway, the multi-agent orchestration, right? Big piece of, how do you maintain and understand what's going on with all of your agents? The search and data integrity is so important for search, right? And getting answers and helping people, or going off and finding the answers and then automatically processing to the next thing. The engineering tools, the safety, the guardrails, the security, and observability. And then this was the agnostic part I was talking about. So the AI models, the channel that you want to choose, whether it's voice or text-based, the data you want to hook into, and the cloud vendor, we don't care. As long as there's APIs, we can get them to talk to each other. We're all good. And then lastly, on here, it's really the AI solutions I was talking about for work, service, and process. So those packages focus specifically on that. And then we have the vertical accelerators, right? So if you don't want to start everything from scratch, we've got a whole bunch of stuff in banking and healthcare and retail, airlines, insurance, and so on in there as well. And then, of course, what we feel sets us apart is, the speed. So your faster time to value with enterprise AI solutions and the AI marketplace that we offer. You have full control. So the power of a standardized platform built for whatever you guys need in the enterprise. We cut our teeth on enterprises from the beginning. And we have so many great customers that you'll see here in the next slide that have really helped us all along the way. And have partnered with us for conversational AI and now everything agentic and moving forward. Excuse me. Flexibility. So you have flexibility. So you take control with seamless connection and data sources and all that, the deep capabilities. So, we work with customers every day to understand what their needs are and the workflow, the behavior, the enterprise ecosystem. That's also important. So we work hand in glove with you on these things and make sure. And then finally, we have proven experience with lots of enterprise customers. Here's some of those enterprise customers for those of you that don't know us that well, that across financial services, healthcare, telco, media, consumer goods, and B2B goods and services. It's just some of the best brands out there, and really great working and partnering with all of these. But, we've been a trusted partner of Global 2000s for a long time. And then again, some of our customers doing some amazing things in the areas of AI for service, for work, and for process. And just somebody like CVS, right? Oh, they're using voice AI, so automated voice interactions for their customers' self-service environment. And they're doing 700 million calls per year in an automated fashion. Imagine if you needed humans to take all those calls, right? It makes a big difference. And again, this goes back to the promise of, right, AI can help and take the weight off of everybody else in the organization. Citibank is doing 300 million calls a year. Charter 200 million calls a year. So you see a lot there. And then Chat AI, eBay is doing 70 million plus, and Citibank is doing another 10 million with chat. And these are both for customers and for Citibank vendors, right? So they have a lot of vendors that leverage their credit cards and stuff. So, for example, Best Buy and others. So there's lots of interactions that they have there. For work, we've got people like AMD and Citibank and I'm trying to think. Morgan Stanley has 130,000 employees, right? They're advisors, they're financial advisors now using AI for work. They started with a small pilot of 20,000, took it up to 60 or 80, I can't remember. And then they deployed it to the full 120,000. And so it's shaving hours off of their day, having to prep. They used to have to start an hour or two before their shift, or their shift actually started an hour or two earlier, so they could read all of the data and understand what's happening with the markets and all these things. Now, the AI, with AI for work, AI helps them right as they're doing it, right? In real time. So it's answering questions either for the client or for the advisor, right? In real time. So it's a better experience for them and their clients. Lastly, we're so proud of our recognition from analysts like Forrester is here and Gartner. We work really hard so that they understand where we're taking our product, our vision, right, and all those things. And you can see, we're a third-time leader in the Gartner Magic Quadrant, way up at the top there for ability to execute and completeness of vision. And that's quite a thing to be in that category 3 times. This year, this conversational AI Magic Quadrant wasn't all about. It was what has been about, but also included agentic capabilities, multi-agent orchestration, autonomy, all those things that are latest and greatest. So that's really great. They took a pause for 1 year and now brought that all in, realizing that, you can't be as effective maybe with some of the workflows and use cases for it, even though it's conversational AI, you need to bring in these agentic capabilities as well. And then the cognitive search. So this is the second time we've been in cognitive search. Last time we were a strong performer. We beefed up all of our capabilities and then really leveraged generative AI, agentic to help as agentic search, brought in agentic search. So made it much more relative, faster, more accurate, and so on. So Forrester, we worked closely with them through briefings and so on, and we've got that top spot there. And then we're in 2 more emerging Magic Quadrants. These are emerging emerging markets, or not emerging, they're emerging capabilities. Well, so the first one is for AI engineering. We're way up at the top here. Whoops, I went too far, pushing. We're right here. It's really hard to see. And that one, and then the other one is generative AI productivity and AI knowledge, again, related to search capabilities. The reason you see so many vendors in here, this is emerging. So you see Snowflake, and you'll see other names in there that aren't necessarily direct competitors with us, but they're evaluating it from AI engineering or from the generative AI productivity and AI knowledge. So it's everybody that plays in those spaces. Thank you, our customers who have done reviews. We couldn't do it without you, both the analyst recognition, but also Gartner Peer Insights and G2 Crowd. These are customer reviews. We have no influence on these, whatever. And out of 5, we're pretty happy with these scores. So thank you again. So we'll have lots of time for discussion, and I hope you guys enjoy yourself. We're thrilled to have you here. So thank you very much. I appreciate the time. Thank you.